Hello, hello. How are we doing today? Let's get this camera right. Let y'all hear some real news. Y'all being lied to. Been trying to tell y'all, but y'all sit there and drink that President Kool-Aid y'all drinking lately. Y'all been drinking a lot of Kool-Aid for the last I don't know 40 years. But we're about to fix it. About to fix it. And that's what's best for business, right? All right. Let me share this on my Facebook. People need to see this. Waiting till people come on in. Come on in. You little wit. All right. What is this ding stuff? What is dinging? Quit dinging. All right. Let's see what we got. Yeah. Looking good right now. Looks like the screen looks good. Good. Wait on people to come on in. Gotta get that real news, don't we, folks? Former Navy SEAL speaks out. John Moore says Wormwood is coming. Subscribe. Period. Oh, yeah. Blacks, white, Hispanic, Muslim. This is for you. Muslims, I don't have a problem with y'all. It was our government that did all this. Confidence. Yes, I'm confident. Why do you always ask me what do I feel these days? All right, here we go, folks. Here we go. And we're on. Here we go, folks. Enjoy.
This topic, as far as the U.S. government is concerned, is one of the most highly classified matters that the government deals with. I've interviewed dozens of people, read thousands of pages of books, watched a number of documentaries, and still get new information every week. What you'll be hearing in this presentation is a very compact version of what's taken me literally 27, 28 years to learn. 2016, things will start to get bad. Abrupt climate change, the rising ocean. Now, what NASA is calling the 10th planet.
And that's what's happened. 2016, it has gotten worse. Now we're into 2018. It's getting worse and worse every day.
It's not the 10th planet we're concerned about. It's the 10th planet that's referred to in the Bible, also called Wormwood. I'll ask you this question. Would the federal government of the United States of America lie to you? That's the response I expect. Laughter. Of course they would. And they have for decades. Because of what I do and what I do professionally, I interact with people involved with law enforcement, including the FBI. I was working on a project with a couple of FBI agents, and we're having lunch one day, and we'd gotten to know each other a little bit. And I thought, well, I'll ask this guy the question. What happened with John Kennedy when he was shot? Now, the man I was asking this, it was not just a run-of-the-mill FBI agent. He was a supervisory level FBI agent. Within a few years of retirement, he's now retired. And I kind of put him in a box because if he told everything he knew, he was jeopardizing his career and his pension. But if he said, John, the Warren report was exactly accurate, then I would know that he was a nutcase because nobody believes the Warren report. So here was his answer. It's a very creative answer. This is from a supervisory level FBI agent regarding the Kennedy assassination. His answer was two words: creative forensics. Now, that let me know that he knew what every person who's looked at it carefully knows, is that the Kennedy assassination was not what we've been told it is. A couple of personal things when it comes to secrets and how military intelligence knows about things before they happen. First week of May, 1967. I'm 19 years old. I'm in a military intelligence school, and I got assigned for a Sunday morning, what they call a dining room orderly. My assignment was to be in the officers' mess where they serve breakfast on Sunday morning, stand at parade rest, and whatever the colonels and the majors wanted, if they wanted coffee, if they wanted toast, they go get it. Stand there at parade rest, eyes straight ahead, and just wait on the officers. One colonel is talking to another colonel. Now, this is military intelligence school, and these are field grade officers in military intelligence. First week of May, 1967. One colonel says to the other colonel, you know, those Golan Heights are going to break loose any day now. Mm-hmm. First week of May, 1967. What happened 4 weeks later? The 6-Day War. Yeah, they knew. They knew. Fast forward just a few months, September 1967. Now, I see some folks in here old enough to remember the Tet Offensive of 1968 in Vietnam, end of January 1968, which took place only 2 months after General Westmoreland gave his famous light at the end of the tunnel speech to a joint session of Congress, December 1967, where General Westmoreland told the joint session of Congress that Viet Cong were defeated on the battlefield, can no longer mount a credible offensive. I get to Vietnam in 1967 in September. By the end of September, I knew about the Tet Offensive at the end of January 1968. 4 months before it happened, 5 months before it happened. I knew about it, and I was getting ready for it. Everybody else found out the last week of January 1968. You better betcha, the people in military intelligence, they know about things before they happen. I know about things before they happen, even now, because I've maintained my contacts inside military intelligence. What you're going to learn today is known by the major world governments. I doubt the president of Zimbabwe knows what we're going to talk about, but the heads of England, Canada, United States, Russia, China, they all know, and they're making preparations. The Vatican knows, and I have some local connections there that I know about the Vatican and what they're doing. The Fortune 100 companies, they're getting ready and being prepared. My first-hand awareness began in year 2000. Two different men, friends of mine, they're both researchers. They approached me and they said, John, there's this thing that's going to happen. We're not sure about the date, but it's going to happen. When it does, there's going to be abrupt climate change. There's going to be 200-mile-an-hour winds.
The threat of climate change could define the country.
Yes. You're welcome. Hey, look, my grandfather knew this guy, John Moore. This is how I knew all this was coming. My grandfather was in World War II. He was in Vietnam, all that. I'm going to show you pictures of him. I actually got my grandfather, his army picture. He's good friends with John Moore. He actually went to dinner with him before he passed away. And John Moore told my grandfather this. So, yes, he is an awesome man. If it wasn't for Kevin Shipp, Edward Snowden, and John Moore, I wouldn't be here. Or my grandfather. So, just listen to what he has to say. Put it in a box if you have to. Look, it's not me. You tell God thank you. All right? You tell, don't say it on Facebook. I mean on YouTube, please. I don't want you to get kicked off. But you just tell him thank you in your way when you go to sleep tonight, okay? Thank him that we found out who murdered Paul Walker. We found out who murdered Robin Williams, that Bourdain guy. It's all connected, folks. And all these other murders that's happening. Golly, Rothschild's wife. That was weird. I didn't expect that one. I guess it's a ritual thing. I don't know. I don't keep up with all that. I just keep up what's happening around America. But get ready. Get your popcorn ready. Get your Coca-Cola. We got 10 days left, folks. 10 days, and then holy cow. Gun confiscations and earthquakes, volcano. Y'all better get ready. That's all I got to say. Y'all better get ready. All hell's about to break loose. Y'all gonna feel it on the East Coast.
Of this century more dramatically than any other.
But I knew these men well enough that I trusted what they told me, and I went to a confidential source and I said, check this out. I need to find out if this is true. And my confidential source, a friend of mine, he says, oh, John, that's silly. That can't be real. But he trusted me and knew me well enough to check it out.
That's what my family said. I was silly. Oh, this is not real. Now my mom texted me a while ago and said, I'm sorry that I did not believe you. But I believe you now. That put a tear in my eye. I've got chill bumps rolling all over me right now. My dad texted me last night and told me I was right. That I should have believed you. My family's starting to believe in me now. I don't know who texted them or called them or what. Or maybe they finally seeing my stuff on my Facebook or on my YouTube, or Lindsay may have told them. But all I know is my family is preparing for this. My stepfather is right now in Kentucky getting ready for this training. He's got his AR-15. He don't supposed to be back until the end of August, folks. The end of August. This man is in his 70s. He runs and walks better than I can. So I just want to let you know, the Marines militia is on the prowl against the NWO, and we're fighting. And thank God for men like Michael Hainsworth giving me $300. And then I got from Washington State just texted me this morning and said, I'm coming to help you. For crying out loud. They want to leave Washington State because of what's happening. And he wants to let me work out of his own house. So I'm excited about this. Big things are about to happen. Ride or die, right? Before they murdered Paul Walker, that's what he said. So just remember that, folks. We got Chester Bennington who was supposed to come out and tell what was going on with the pedophilia. And here we are. Here we are. 10 days out. And I'm having to tell you now and then with 6 years, you know what? I might have got the 6 years wrong. It might be 7 years, folks. But all I know is y'all better get ready. I'm not trying to get you to go to the grocery store and spend a lot more money and everything. I'm doing this because I care. You're not going to have water to run to take a bath. You're not going to have a... Thanks for the one like, by the way, whoever it was. I guess it was you, Amy. Thank you. But here we go. We've got, let's see here. 50 minutes on this video. Okay? And there's a couple guys I want y'all to listen to, but we're going to try to do the best we can. I've got both Facebooks rolling now. I'm not kidding. Both Facebooks are rolling now. And if you haven't seen my Putin and Obama meeting 12 months ago, you need to go look it up and go check it out. Stock up each pay. Look, this is what I'm going to tell you what you need to stock up on, okay? Stuff that's got packages in it, like Little Debbie's, soybeans, stuff like that. You're going to be going back to camping, folks. So you need to get you some canteens. You need to get you some, Why is that idiot coming in here? See, that's what I like about this game. You never know who's going to come in here and screw this match up. You got what's his name? Edgehead. Well, I forgot his name. He went to school with me, believe it or not. The guy in the orange, he went to school with me at Minor. His real name is Skinner. Eric Skinner. But that's crazy. But here we go. I want you to hear this. People going to be popping in and popping out. That's fine. That's a view. Appreciate it. You better get your fishing going. You better get your, your deer hunting and your bear hunting and stuff like that. You're going to have to do all this, folks. Did Dean Ambrose win? Wow. That hurt. I'm not even watching the matches, folks. I'm so concerned about this. I just got this out here for y'all to watch this, and we're going to bait these people in and let them hear the real news. And that's what's going to happen. I am smart, I am intelligent, and it's just, you don't understand. If it weren't for my grandfather and them, I would never have learned any of this or reverse psychology in school. But yeah, here we go. I got to keep on going. By the way, welcome back, Gail. Gail is back. Gail Force wins. She's been going through a lot. Pray for her. Not on YouTube.
He's back with me a few weeks later. He says, John, it's exactly what you said it is. It's coming. It's going to hit us. It's going to hit us hard. And it's going to be 200-mile-an-hour winds. There's going to be massive tidal waves and earthquakes and all the rest of all the things that you said. That was in the summer of 2000.
What should give us hope that this is a turning point? That this is the moment we finally determined we would save our planet.
My research has continued. I've continued to develop my sources and put the whole thing together so I can make this presentation. I've got copies in the lobby that I'll make available for anybody that wants it. It's the Department of Defense study done by a private think tank about abrupt climate change. Now, the Department of Defense spent many thousands of dollars to have this private think tank put this paper together. And I've got a quote from this, and this, what I've got out here that you can get is the open source unclassified version. The classified version I haven't been able to get my hands on. But here's the first paragraph of that paper by Peter Schwartz and Doug Randall. Recent research, however, suggests that there is a possibility that this gradual global warming could lead to a relatively abrupt slowing of the ocean's thermohaline conveyor, that's the Gulf Stream, ladies and gentlemen, which could lead to harsher winter conditions, sharply reduced soil moisture, and more intense winds in certain regions that currently provide a significant fraction of the world's food production. With inadequate preparation, the result could be a significant drop in the human carrying capacity of the Earth's environment. That means people are going to die. That's what that means.
Yep.
Has anybody seen
You're not ready.
The film, The Day After Tomorrow?
Yes,
Anybody?
I have.
Okay, a few. There's some science in there and some science fiction. If you haven't seen,
Put in Day After Tomorrow full movie on YouTube. It's out there. It'll come up as catastrophe movies. The first one, click it on there. Everything will be reversed. If any of the words are reversed, you know why. Because they're trying to give it out there, give you the information with that. Okay. Just wondered. I didn't know who seen it or who didn't. I cannot believe nobody's in here watching this. I gave Austin the information. I gave everybody the information and nobody's in here. They're running out of time. I told Austin last night. Austin finally spoke to me on voicemail, on voice messenger, and because I can't read too good, my eyes are really bad, so I can talk. Thank goodness I still can talk. But my eye, I feel like a bat, blind. But I can't believe I can still do these game designs the way I do, because if I lose that, I'm gonna lose my mind, seriously. But enjoy. We're in Paris, France. And enjoy my Michael Jordan arena.
I would urge you to get a copy from the library, borrow a copy, whatever it takes. The opening scene is something, it's a dramatic interpretation of what.
Speaking of, do the same thing with 2012, the movie. We're going to see that very, very soon. I'm telling you guys, the slipping, Dutch China's is telling us right now that it's unrest. Civil unrest is coming to America, folks. Y'all better get ready.
Really did happen, which was as large as an ice shelf B breaking away from the Antarctic continent. That really did happen. Very dramatic event.
Yes, he
Now,
is.
some of the science in there is what will be happening in the future with abrupt climate change. The science in that film is what's going to cause it. And the science fiction is human activity creating CO2 greenhouse gases. That's the science fiction. There's three characters in that movie. They're oceanographers, and they're on a little island off the coast of Scotland. And quite frankly, they could be anywhere because you can do this from your home if you got internet access. There's buoy.
Breaking news. John Podesta has land in California. They have found a building that looks like a pig slaughter building that they're having rituals in there. It's John and Tony Podesta. That's right. I'll watch. 2012 reversed. It's 2021. That's right. Reverse psychology. Ding. Think about it. What did Putin say to Obama and Angela Merkel? We will be seeing it when? 2021. This is crazy, folks. By 2022, we're going to have North Korea, China, and Russia coming in on us. I showed you the video on my other channel, on my other YouTube channel. Rest in peace, NWO. So we're getting to the nitty gritty. By the way, Hulk Hogan has signed with the WWE. I've got so much news it's not even funny. I may even come back after 9 o'clock to do another one. That's how far I'm into all the news. Yeppers. Yeppers? I like that word. But enjoy.
Out there in the Atlantic that gives 24-hour, 7-day-a-week readings of the ocean temperature. And anybody can do this any place. You don't need to be on a little island off the coast of Scotland. So they're sitting there watching the ocean temperatures off the coast of Scotland.
They reinstated him because Obama's not there no more. Obama ruined that for Hulk Hogan. Obama ruined things for Paul Walker too. I don't know if you knew this, but Obama's administration, the UN, shot Paul Walker's car with a drone. That's why they cut the cameras off. We got evidence now. And that's going to be coming out very, very soon on my other channel. I'm going to shock the world with the news that I have got. I've already been shocking the world, and it's scary. It's scary. I have got over 300,000 views on both of my channels.
And then there's a dramatic drop in temperature on one buoy, then another buoy, and so forth. And what they're watching is the North Atlantic thermohaline conveyor, which is also called the Gulf Stream. From my private sources, I know that in real life, not in Hollywood films, but in real life, PhD oceanographers.
What did I teach you? Which part? I've taught a lot to myself too, believe it or not. You don't understand. My grandfather said a lot before he died. I mean, and I didn't understand him because you know how them old people do, talking about wars and all that, and then you have Brother Jim Loper telling me what's going on. Many truths. Well, a lot of truths are just being drowned by fake news. Everybody's believing this crap. Oh, Trump did this, Trump did that. Well, guess what? They both did it. Trump did it, and so did Obama, and the Clintons, and the Bushes. They don't blame but one person. You need to blame them all. If you're going to blame anybody, blame the NWO, World 13 World Banks. That's what I want y'all to blame. And quit blaming us and start blaming the government that has been slaving you all these years. How about that, folks? How about that, America? How about that? My grandfather fought for this country, and I'm going to fight for you and for him.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week are actually doing that on both sides of the Atlantic, and they're very, very concerned. Just a couple of years ago, There was an
Y'all
announcement
been lied to.
had slowed down by 30%.
Ride or
My
die.
private sources tell me it's been more than that. Now here's the deal. You look at a map of the world and you've got England, Ireland, and Scotland here, and you got Moscow here. They're both the same distance from the North Pole. They're both the same distance from the North Pole. England, Ireland, Scotland, and Moscow. What's the difference? I mean, they rarely see any serious snow in England, Ireland, and Scotland. They don't have furnaces like we do because it doesn't get to be 10 degrees. And they certainly don't have the winters of Moscow, even though they're the same distance from the North Pole. The reason they don't is the Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream is that ocean of warm water that comes up from the Caribbean, the Gulf of Mexico, up the east coast of the United States, goes over and down past England, Ireland, Scotland, past France, goes on south.
Play the song Oceanfront Property in Arizona. Remember, there's not even an ocean around Arizona. This song came out in the 80s, folks. How did they know that? How did they know that, folks? How did they know that? The NWO tells them what to sing. This has been going on for a while. Like 40 years, I know. Be honest with you, all this has been going on since World War One. Yes, George Strait. Who told us? Who was the first ones to say that? And that's funny. That's funny. You say that. But get this. Somebody put that on my YouTube channel with the maps, with the blue and white map, with, California gone, the South Coast is gone, the East Coast is gone, and the middle of the United States is gone. And that guy sends me a message and says, yep, just like George Strait said, you're not lying. I said, no, I'm not lying. Why would I get on Facebook and get on YouTube to lie to people? No, I'm not the type that, I'm not the CIA operatives. I work with ex-CIA that walked away from the pedophile government. These big channels that y'all are watching are just like fake news. Alex Jones. Hold on.
New message is received from number one
I didn't
mom.
mean to do that.
Messages, will you go get it?
Shoot, I didn't mean to do that. What happened here? Shoot, sorry. I love Siri. It tells you what to say. You're the real truth news. Well, yeah, but I have a lot of people around me to help me, so it wasn't just me. I didn't know a damn thing in 2014 about internet, okay? It was a lady named Carmen Emery come out of nowhere to help me. Lindsay didn't want to help me until she started seeing that they were making money off of YouTube. I ain't seen a damn dime on YouTube. I don't know where people saying that you make money. Really. Because I've already done everything they've asked me to do. Yeah. So, we're going to keep on. Sorry about that, folks. I'll turn it back up.
It's a big circle. That's true. That's what gives England, Ireland, and Scotland the very temperate, mild winters that they've always enjoyed. The best PhD oceanographers on the planet know that it's slowing down, and they know it's going to stop. There's some disagreement about when. And because there's some unknowns that they have.
Well, John Moore, it's slowing down now. And I want to be honest with you. I know you're subscribed to me on a secret channel, and that's understandable. Thank you for watching and seeing what I'm doing, because I like to know if I'm doing anything wrong or right. John Moore is like a boss to me. Kevin Shipp, Edward Snowden are my bosses, okay? They're the ones that tell me what I need to say and what I need to do to warn the Americans, the women, and the kids. Guys, this is going to be worse than Hurricane Katrina. Worse. This is going to be worse than Hurricane Andrew. Any catastrophe. Bigger than 9/11. This is going to be big, guys. Like 290 billion people could be dead. You're going to be like a lottery ticket to live. That's the way it's going to be. That's how they're going to do it. Obama's sitting with China right now and telling them, well, we're going to wait until this is over with, and then what's left, we're going to slave them. And that's what his plan is. That's what his plan is. He's already said it. I've got so many people telling me what I'm saying is true. So we are, a reason I'm on a game channel, people coming on here asking me why am I doing this on a game channel, because I've got to be under the radar, because all the big channels are getting their videos deleted. Okay, I've already had videos deleted. I've already been kicked off, and here I am with another YouTube channel. So I had to do it this way, and it's working. It's working. I just can't play no music. I can only play news. And kids, if you understand this, your mom and dad needs to watch this. That's how bad this is. Okay? Okay? Because when they cut the water off and the power off and everything, you're not even going to have the water to take a bath. You're not going to have the water to brush your hair or, get a haircut or anything. Think about it, folks. There's not even going to be no more gaming. There's not going to be Facebook. Why do you think the CEO of Facebook put that out there? I'm about to cut the Facebook off. Remember the video he said that? Amy? I'm going to cut the Facebook off. YouTube's talking about cutting their stuff off. If you haven't heard, I'm telling you right now, Twitch is about to cut their stuff off. Do you know why? Because an asteroid is going to hit the satellites. All 66 satellites are going to be knocked out by 1,000 asteroids that's following this planet. Why are we having problems with the internet and the phones? Why are we having problems with the televisions? They're saying that they're hacking us, but it ain't just hacking, folks. It's what is happening to the internet and the satellites. So remember, everybody, 66 satellites is all I know. It's every country, and you got, cable satellites are out there. The satellites for dish. You got all around the world. All the nation satellites are out there. You got everybody's satellite out there. Okay, that's all I know. 66 satellites is out there. That's all I know. All I know is they're going to be knocked out. And that's what keeps our power on and our water on, folks. They're not even using power plants no more as much. It's kind of really reducing it. They're really reducing it right now. They're using satellites now to keep our lights on and our internet and all these God's eyes cameras that they got watching us, which that's not going to be happening no more. Your phone's not going to be working no more. They sit there and say, look, CIA operatives are saying we're going to have an EMP attack. They're lying because they don't believe in what God's about to do to the satellites. Okay? I thought you might want to know that, folks. Oh, and by the way, I'm about to do a Michael Myers special on my YouTube, on my other YouTube channel. Please start subscribing to that channel too. This is just only a live channel. But we're going to have Russia taking out Europe. Michael Myers style. You're going to like it. But here we go. I'm sorry. I keep on stopping, but y'all keep on asking me questions, and I'm trying my best to throw you a bone, because y'all deserve it. Americans don't deserve this crap. Y'all been lied to by the government, and I'm sick of it.
To try to do some guesswork. But here's what makes the Gulf Stream work. It's the salt content. It's the salinity of the ocean. The salt content of the ocean allows that big engine to pump that water up, go over and come back down, and do that big circle of thousands of miles. The salt content is changing. because of melting freshwater ice in Greenland and melting freshwater ice in the Antarctic. Now, the melting ice at the North Pole doesn't make any difference because that's floating salt water. So it doesn't make any difference. It doesn't change the sea levels, it doesn't change the salinity of the ocean. This fresh water being introduced into the ocean is reducing the salinity of the ocean. That's slowing down the Gulf Stream, and at some point, it will stop. 3 years, 5 years, 20 years, I can't tell you when. And the best PhD oceanographers on the planet can't tell you when. They can tell you it's about to happen, though. As I started tracking this matter of abrupt climate change and rising ocean levels, I incorporated into casual conversations with people I knew and came in contact with. I was having lunch one day with a friend of mine. This friend is a veteran of the U.S. Navy Submarine Corps. And I was talking about what would be causing this, because I did pretty quickly learn what would be causing the rising ocean levels and abrupt climate change. And my friend starts telling me what he heard at a classified U.S. Navy briefing. And he went on about how the Navy had told everybody in the submarine corps about rising ocean levels and what that would mean, and why Navy retirees should consider moving to the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks, because the Navy was telling, and is still telling these men, that the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks are one of the known safe havens when all these events take place. Later that night, I got home and I was thinking about our conversation, and something occurred to me that hadn't occurred to me while the two of us were together. And it occurred to me that we were talking about the same thing. I was talking about the cause, and he was talking about the effect. At that point, I also remembered a map that a patient of my wife's a chiropractor, had brought in and showed my wife back in the mid-'80s, of what North America would look like after the ocean rose to their new levels. Now, at the time, I thought, this lady needs a tinfoil hat real bad. That's the only thing I could think of. It was a beautiful full-color map done by a psychic. But I always remember the map. I have a very good memory about things that I choose to remember. And I thought about this map, and I called my friend on the phone, and I said,
Wait a minute. Did you just say the American flag is not wanted on Facebook when I just put a number 3 Coca-Cola American flag race car on my profile? That makes no sense. I don't know, but that makes no sense. You might want to check your settings.
got this map. I want to send it a copy of it. I got a little copy I found on the internet, 4x4 inches. So I sent it to him by email. And my friend looks at it and he says, well, from the Rocky Mountains east, it's very accurate compared to what the Navy showed us, with one exception. Wisconsin's gone on the Navy's map. Wisconsin is still there on Scallion's map, Gordon Michael Scallion, well-known psychic. And from the Rocky Mountains west, it's...
Do what? There? What does that mean? There? They're here? I mean, this is not America. This is Babylon. Never was America. Y'all been lied to. I mean, they need to come out with a song called I Pledge Allegiance to the Babylon Flag of the United States of Babylon. I don't know. I put my flag out there on a race car, so I don't know. That's one of the game designs that we're working on right now, the Coca-Cola number 3 car for NASCAR Heat 3. China wouldn't work either. We'll see. Just let me get through this and get through this tournament and listen to the Navy SEAL.
Not even close to what the Navy says. Not even a little bit close. So I went ahead and ordered a copy of Scallion's map, a full-size version of it, and I get together with my friend, and he goes over the entire coast of the United States, East Coast, Gulf Coast around Florida, down to Texas, West Coast on up to Washington. And he shows me in great detail where the Navy said
Just
the new shoreline was going to be.
enjoy the show.
He also told me that the East Coast would take damage up to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Now, the Blue Ridge Parkway runs north-south on the east side of the Appalachian Mountains, about 100 miles from the coast. Now you have to keep in mind, this is not John Moore. This is U.S. Navy in classified briefings telling these men what would be happening in the future. Since talking to my friend, I've also interviewed 3 more Navy veterans. One was an officer in the submarine corps. Another was an intelligence officer from another service assigned to the submarine corps for a 3-year tour of duty. And the third guy was a Navy veteran. Fourth guy, actually. A friend of mine, he's a college professor, and I was at his college class on international relations giving a presentation on terrorism. The other presenter was this former intelligence officer. So we finish our presentation to college students on terrorism, and we go to a pizza place in New Orleans. And there's 4 of us. Myself, I'm sitting here. The retired intelligence officer, his wife sitting next to me, and the intelligence officer himself sitting across from me, and my friend and college professor is right over here. Once I found out that he did a 3-year tour of duty with the submarine corps, I knew I had to ask the question. I might never see this man again in my life. I got to ask the question. Now, we talked about rising ocean levels. And this you have to keep in mind, this is a basic tool of investigative work, is interviewing witnesses at different times and different places, interviewing witnesses that don't know each other. You want to get to the heart of a matter, that's the way it's done. You find witnesses who don't know each other that have the same information, and you interview them at different times, different places. So I ask him, tell me what you know about rising ocean levels. His wife, sitting next to me, before he can even speak up, his wife sitting next to me says the following. We were on our last duty assignment, and we were at the Pentagon. Now, we've been all over the planet, typical military family, and we had to pick a place to retire. We chose the Arkansas-Missouri Ozarks because of rising ocean levels. I had my answer. We talked about that a little bit more. A few weeks later, I made a lunch appointment with him, and I brought the map with me that I revised after going over with the first submarine veteran. I brought it with me. We met at Steak and Shake, had lunch, and I had him revise the map even further, getting a few more details in there. The third submarine veteran, retired submarine officer, he's one of my pistol students. We had lunch and we talked, and he says, John, I signed these non-disclosure agreements. If I tell you what I know, I could lose my pension. I have to be out 5 years before I can tell what I know about rising ocean levels. I've only been out 3 years. I said, well, can you blink your eyes once for yes and twice for no? Then you'll be talking. He says, yeah, I can do that.
I'll tell you how this is happening. CERN, Switzerland, folks. Go look it up. Since he don't know how. He does, but he don't want to. He don't tell you the whole thing. CERN, Switzerland is pulling everything toward us. This is why the sun is getting worse. CERN, Switzerland's putting the sun flares right on us during every summer. It's hot. But if you've not noticed, our winters are getting shorter. So this is what's happening. CERN digging underground. That's why we're seeing different islands come up out of nowhere in the Pacific Ocean close to Hawaii. And then you got another one that's going to come up on the East Coast. But none of this will happen until they get to all the way to the bottom with this thing. They're not even gotten there yet. They're so far out. This thing's only going 88 miles per hour. It's not getting up to like light speed here. But it is getting more power. Prime Minister Canada and some more other leaders are giving out more money to CERN Switzerland. And I think the leaders are destroying your country and your earth. They keep on saying that pollution's doing it. No, it's not. It's not, folks. It's actually the CERN Switzerland, and they're so stupid to tell you the truth because they want you to lose your job. They want you to lose your money, and they want you to kill each other because they're just laying back and watching the destruction of Earth right now and the United States. And they're enjoying it. They're enjoying you hurting. And that's what I got to say about you. If you hurt one of our patrons that's trying to keep you safe, you're a dead person. You're a dead person. There's over 18 million Marines that walked away from the pedophile government. I thought you might want to know that. I'm just a speaker to them. So while you're thinking about I don't know, beating up a kid or stabbing him at the grocery store like you did a couple of weeks ago. I seen that. You might want to do that another way because the cops are letting it all go. Okay? Because they're a bunch of criminals. But the Marines militia's not. They're about to get up on the ceiling or on the roof. Snipers on the roof, getting ready to take the bad ones out. Because the cops don't know how to do it. They're ignorant. They keep on taking out the innocent, and that's going to stop.
The retired submarine officer verified what the other two submarine veterans had told me earlier. Word for word, detail for detail. And he also, this is the third man who had chosen the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks for his retirement home. The Prophecy Club, a Christian group out of Topeka, Kansas, they sent me on a nationwide speaking tour in 2005 on this topic. And I'm up in Detroit speaking on this. On one of the breaks, I have a man walk up and introduce himself to me. He says, John, I'm in the insurance industry. And we've wondered for years, us in the insurance industry, why is there such a cluster of retired Navy people in the zip codes of the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks? Now I know. Now I got my answer. The Navy knows. Another pistol student of mine, a retired Navy guy, I said, what's the altitude of your new home? He told me to the foot the altitude of his new home. How many people can do that? Almost nobody. He told me to the foot the altitude of his new home in the Arkansas, Missouri Ozarks. Absolutely he did. How many planets are there in our solar system? 9? Okay. NASA. Never a straight answer. NASA. July 29th,
12
2005,
planets.
announced the finding of the 10th planet, named Xena.
It's 12 planets
Do a
now.
Google search. They did. Don't take my word for it. NASA announced the finding of the 10th.
If you remember the show Xena, they were trying to warn you then.
Planet, named Xena, 29th of July, 2005. Parade magazine and the Sunday newspaper. It was the front cover of the January 15th, 2006 edition. A friend of mine, I started telling him about these matters in 2004. After the NASA press announcement in July of 2005, he calls me up and he says, John, you're not crazy. There really is a 10th planet. NASA said so. I said, thank you very much. There has to be a cause. And this is something, quite frankly, we don't need to address it, but we will address it. The cause is the 10th planet. Now, what NASA is calling the 10th planet is not the 10th planet we're concerned about. It's the 10th planet that's referred to in the Bible, also called wormwood. The closer you are to the current equator, whatever that might be, the better off you are when these things happen, if there's a pole shift, because your climate's not going to change all that much. If you're in Miami, Florida, and we have a 20-degree pole shift, you're not going to end up with a really, really bad winter. You're going to have a mild winter. But if you're in Maine and you got a 20-degree pole shift, you could end up with the weather of Siberia real easy. And when this 10th planet comes through our solar system every 3,600 years, it just causes severe problems on our planet. Interacting with the Earth electrically and with gravity both. The back of your paper, No Need for Panic, there is a number of books cited that you can get from the library or purchase from different authors that talk in great detail about these planetary matters. Professor James McCanning, who is a credentialed scientist, has written a number of books on this. He's a real astrophysical scientist, and he knows about this stuff. I'm a private detective and a researcher. I'm not a scientist. But I can tell you what the say, because I've read their books. And I can tell you what Dr. Velikowski said, because I've read his books. And I can tell you what the Bible says, because I've read the Bible. And all these things are true, and all these things are in the process of happening right now. It took me a while to figure this out, for the following reason. All these Navy veterans, they were all told about climate change and rapidly, violently rising ocean levels. And I was trying to figure out, and I finally figured out in the past 12 months, where is all this water going to come from? The men that I was interviewing, they were in the audience, like you guys. They weren't the scientists. The Navy just told these men in these classified briefings what would be happening. They didn't tell them how or why. They didn't need to know. They told them what would be happening. They told them that these oceans would become violent and have massive, violent tidal waves that would wipe out all areas near the coast. Up until last year,
Thanks
I was
for the
thinking,
2 likes, everyone.
melting ice in Antarctica, melting ice in Greenland. But how could it melt that fast? Well, it can't melt that fast, even with what we're going through. It turns out the answer was right in front of me all the time. There's a quote from Velikovsky that I'll be reading here in a moment when we get to it. It turns out that the knowledge is something all oceanographers know, and a lot of people in geology departments in every university knows. There is a bulge of water at the equator. Now we're talking about sea level here. Sea level is measured at Cornwall, England. It's a couple hundred years ago. England was kind of running things when it came to oceans, and they got to pick where to measure sea level. When they measured it, they got a big rock. There's a line there. That's sea level. It turns out that sea level varies as much as 494 feet up and down from that rock in Cornwall, England. Now that's like a 50-story building. I mean, it's a lot of water. And there's a bulge of literally millions of cubic miles, 1 mile by 1 mile by 1 mile, cubic miles, millions of cubic miles of water bulge at the equator of this planet. It wasn't common knowledge for John Moore. I found.
Amy, do you want to know why Putin and Trump met? It wasn't about his granddaughter, or I've seen sex jokes about that. Guys, that quiet private meeting was about Wormwood, folks. Putin finally told Donald Trump, and Trump is about to announce it, folks. Rex 84 is coming. And if you don't know what Rex 84 is, go look it up. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I've been telling you through all my videos what is about to happen on NASCAR Online for the last 4 years. Well, actually 8 years. All I can tell you is what the Navy SEAL John Moore is saying right now is what Putin is telling Trump right now. Look, when you have an asteroid hit Moscow like it did a couple of years ago, it woke Putin up, folks. It woke him up. I will tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this. He did not hack the elections. It was Obama to undivide this country. And well, actually to divide this country more. Think about it. He already planted the seeds for black and white each other. And then they got Trump. Look, I'm telling you right now, folks. Trump and Putin is going to try to save the world. But they're going to try to come in here and assassinate these two presidents. Okay? I have a feeling, and people are telling me, that they're going to try to kill Putin. And when they do, somebody else is going to step up in Russia, and it's not going to be Putin that attacks. It's going to be somebody else that attacks the United States because they're fed up with the shit. Putin has been really nice. He's the one that killed ISIS. That's why the United States is telling them to stay away from Putin and this and that and the other. Because they know the plan, and they know that the United States has been scamming everyone. Okay, this is what I'm going to tell you right now. Putin, and this is what my advisor was telling me. And I wasn't going to tell you, but I am. Fuck it. They come at me, they come at me. Because I'm dying anyways. But, and I don't care. I don't. I'm going to kill them, they come at me. I'm gonna come out swinging. But I'm gonna tell you this right now. We do have an asteroid, and it's going to be really, really close to us in October. You're not going to believe the date. Does anybody know the date of Bennu? By the way, Bennu is the asteroid that's coming our way. And this is the asteroid that Paul Begley's been babbling about for, I don't know, umpteen years. He sits there and says, asteroid's coming, asteroid's coming. He never says what date. Do you know why he hasn't said the date? Because they come to his house and they threaten to kill him and his wife. This is coming from ex-CIA telling me this, folks. He has something to live for. I don't. I've lost my girl, lost food, lost my housing, lost everything. I don't have nothing to lose. So this is what I'm going to tell you. They're saying Halloween. Can you believe that? That would probably be the big heart attack for everyone. But that makes sense because God hates Halloween. So he would bring an asteroid on Halloween. But the thing is, the scientist that we got, this former that walked away from the pedophile government, are saying that with the equator and the Earth shield that's weakening right now, it's don't supposed to hit us right off the bat. We think that the atmosphere is going to hit the atmosphere and it's going to skip like a freaking rock, like a rock into the lake or something. That's supposed to happen 3 or 4 times in the Bible. It says there's three asteroids that's supposed to hit us before the big asteroids come at us, like 1,000 of them. Okay, the dates are Halloween 2018. This is why they're about to bring in gun confiscation this fall. You see where I'm coming from? You see why Obama is making his moves right now in the world? You see why Putin is getting with all the presidents and all the leaders? Well, Europe's not, because Europe don't want to have nothing to do with it. They don't want to hear about it. They want everybody to die anyways. So this is what's happening, folks. NATO has been training. China has been training in the South China Sea. They have shut down oil. The oil rigs are not coming in and out of, and it hasn't been happening for the past months. That's why gas prices are going up. When the earthquake happens, the economy is going to crash. The West Coast, when the West Coast goes, the economy is going to crash. Okay? This is what they're saying. And it's going to happen, folks. It's going to happen. You just need to know what dates and what times. You know what I would start doing? Step on it. Start managing your stuff. Stop going to your football games. They're all fake. I told you that. NASCAR is fake. WWE is the only thing that's real with the storylines. The storylines are trying to tell you something. Triple H is trying to show you what is coming to the country from NXT. Because Aleister Black is family with Aleister Crowley. You see where I'm coming from? The Bush's family is the Crawleys. Aleister Crowley. I don't know if you knew that or not. John Cena wins again. Yay. Get kind of fed up with him. Because he does the Illuminati signs all the time. The NWO signs all the time. Would not surprise me if John Cena come back with the NWO. They are bringing back the NWO. For one reason and one reason only. To show you what's about to happen. Martial law is about to be in effect on Brock Lesnar. What's going to happen is Bobby Lashley is supposed to come in there and beat Brock Lesnar, but after the match, the Shield comes back and takes out both of them. If you've not seen the story lately, Bobby Lashley is going to beat Roman Reigns. The story is set up to the Shield coming back. Dean Ambrose is about to come back. Randy Orton just showed back up, which kind of surprised me because he's been in Birmingham with surgery. Or did he have surgery? A lot of the elites are getting ready for this and wanting to have part-time contracts so they can move their stuff underground. I thought you might want to know that, folks, because a lot of people don't see what's happening and see what's going on. NASCAR drivers retiring, if you've not noticed, they're retiring because they see what's coming. Amy told Earnhardt to retire because they know what's coming. And so I just thought you might want to know what's going on. If you start seeing elites disappear and you start seeing the government disappear and go underground, you've got 72 hours. If you see the ground turn red, you've got 72 hours. I'm going to say we've only got 11 more years left. Everything's going to get worse from now until then. 6 more years, the East Coast is going to be gone. 7 more years, we're just going to be getting ready for the invasion with all the countries that we have been bullying for almost. Look, when this happens in the West Coast, we're going to be, the United States is going to be to their knees. That's when the countries are going to come at us while we're down. I'm telling you right now, I know the plan. I've got ex-CIA telling me, ex-NSA telling me, and what's going on. Everything that I have said on my YouTube channel is coming true, folks. I thought you might want to know that. For crying out loud, y'all being lied to. I get tired of being lied to. I thought y'all might be getting tired of lied to, but undoubtedly y'all are still watching that fake news because I've been watching your Facebooks, everyone. Destiny Clark's an idiot. Destiny, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Sitting there blaming Trump when you need to be blaming all of the presidents. All of the presidents have something to do with this. And I already told you Trump has something to do with 9/11. I told you JFK Jr. and Donald Trump had something to do with yesterday's breaking news that you probably haven't seen yet, people. Not getting a lot of views. Why? Why? I will be getting a lot of views very, very soon because this week is the vote that's going to take down your Alex Jones, VP Earthwatch, your every channel that's been talking about this. Because I'm going to be the only one that's standing left because I know the plan. Ex-CIA is telling me I'm doing the right thing to be on gaming to let everybody know what's coming. So, without further ado, while we're waiting on Kratos and Dean Ambrose in the TLC match on Sesame Street, we're going to do this. We're not done. We still got a couple more hours, or a couple more minutes left. Actually, 25 more minutes left. Enjoy.
Found out, it's not common knowledge for most people. It's held in place by 2 things, the rotation of the Earth and gravity. Anything that changes our true north, our pole, by more than just a couple of degrees will cause that water to be disrupted. There's a technical term for it, slosh. And there's records locked up in bones and stone of this having happened in the past. Velikovsky talked about it extensively in his books. Talk a little bit about this water damage. You have a map in your handout.
The dinosaurs did it.
Now, from Washington, D.C. to Boston is basically one big city. Since World War II, that's what it's become. One big city.
Thanks for the 2
All that's
likes.
gonna be gone.
The people that cares.
Going down the coast to Atlanta and down to Florida. Florida, the highest point in Florida is on the Panhandle, 55 feet above sea level. Florida's finished, except for a small part of the isthmus, maybe. And that's a big maybe. Gulf Coast, Alabama, Louisiana, Mississippi are pretty much going to be gone. In fact, the new mouth of the Mississippi will be at the current Arkansas-Louisiana state line, a couple hundred miles up from where it is right now.
This is an old video. Alabama is okay. Half of Alabama, folks. Montgomery South is gone. He said Alabama. The whole Alabama is gone. No, just half of Alabama. That's why I'm safe. I'm going to see the ocean. I'm in Shelby County, so I'm going to get to see the ocean. I'm going to be 2 counties away from the ocean.
Going down around the coast of Texas, Texas will take damage about 100 miles inland. California will take damage 25 to 100 miles inland, depending on a couple of things: the level of the altitude above sea level and seismic activity. On up the west coast to Oregon and Seattle, all coastal areas being damaged 50 to 100 miles inland. And once again, seismic activity is going to play a big role in what happens. Locally in the Midwest, we have something called the New Madrid seismic zone. Once the Mississippi River becomes 50 to 100 miles wide, the U.S. Navy, not John Moore, the U.S. Navy says it will trigger at least 3 9-point plus earthquakes on the New Madrid seismic zone. Southern Illinois will basically be on one large swing.
They've changed it. It's 12.0 plus. It's not going to be 9.0. It's going to be 12.0. The map that I just showed you is the map that's real. The one that he's got is old and has got the wrong map. I just thought you might want to know that. So just remember that, folks. I'm not trying to scare you. You need to study the map that I sent you. Look, you want the other map? Go ahead. But that is an old map that he wrote out in like an artistic kind of situation, which I don't believe in. I'm looking at the map that was in the Bible. And the one that's in the Bible is the one that I got on the thumbnail.
In fact, southern Illinois is already pretty swampy. If you fly over the Mississippi River right now, you can see where the river used to be. You can see where its banks were at one time. A much larger river than it is now. I mentioned Wisconsin will be gone. The Great Lakes will become one vast inland sea joining up with Hudson Bay up in Canada. That's what the Navy says. And it was kind of ironic and kind of caught my attention when all of these Navy veterans, these submarine veterans, they all look at this map and they say, John, Wisconsin's gone. It's finished. There's not going to be any more Wisconsin. Florida's gone.
Yeah, if you friend me, I've got both of my Facebooks rolling now. I'm actually going to put this story on my Facebook with him talking about this, because there's some stuff that needs to be shown and seen. I don't know if I get kicked off or not, but hell with it. I mean, for crying out loud, we're all about to get kicked off if we don't watch it. Don't give a shit, though. I don't care anymore, guys. I don't care. Facebook ain't telling me what to do. YouTube is not telling me what to do. I keep on coming back like Michael Myers. But Fernandez, you've got to friend me. Find me. Andrew Jackson, Birmingham, Alabama, or Dale Jr. Jackson, Calera. It's up to you. But I don't know who to send it to. I don't know how to send it. I don't know where to send it to on your Facebook. I don't know where you're coming from. You say you're from Florida, but Amy says she's from Florida, and there's a lot of Fernandez out there. A bunch. So, I was lucky to find her because she put all 3 of her names out there. So, yeah. And I found her. I think she was shocked, too.
Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, finished, gone. EPA, our friends. You know, a lot of people make fun of the EPA and hate the EPA, but like most government agencies, most of the people that work there are good men and women.
Thank you for the 3 likes, everyone.
Including a lot of
We are
scientists.
slamming the NWO.
The EPA had a library.
Share this to your family, everyone. I'm telling you right now, this is
Until
former Navy.
2007. The library containing the largest collection of cross-referenced, important term, cross-referenced articles and manuscripts on man-made compounds and biological agents in the English language.
Look, Paul Walker died because he was trying to tell us what was about to happen. Robin Williams died, killed himself. No, he didn't kill himself. Somebody else killed him. Prince died the same day Queen showed up at the White House. Y'all need to get everything stick and stone and getting ready to roll, because I'm telling you right now, folks, I'm telling you right now, Jack, it's about to get ugly. It's about to get ugly, folks. Some of our fears is about to happen in Baltimore. Baltimore, you better get out of your city right now. They're about to blow it up. The hospitals are gone. Okay? And that president is not going to make it. He's going to die in a hydrogen bomb. President Obama. He's not a vice president no more. He's not former president. He is your president. He's been the president all along. Y'all haven't seen what he's been doing behind the backs of y'all. I showed you what Obama and Putin did 12 months ago on my other YouTube channel. I'm not playing around and not joking. Y'all are all being played, and y'all are arguing with each other, and y'all need to quit arguing with each other, just like that black guy in the movie Purge, the new movie that just come out 4th of July. We need to fight together and take down the NWO. If we don't, you can say goodbye to your family.
In 2007, it was closed. The EPA library was closed, and it was a number of different locations around the country. Closed to even EPA scientists could not access it. Anybody see Al Gore's film, An Inconvenient Truth? Okay, once again, I encourage people to watch this movie. There's some science in there, there's some science fiction. The science is about what will happen in the future, abrupt climate change and rising ocean levels. The science fiction is what's causing it. It's not man-made greenhouse gases, like he says. That's a distraction. And that tactic was decided on many, many years ago, sometime in the late 70s, early 80s, that they would use that as the pretext to keep people thinking things are going to be okay. The science leaves out something, and the science fiction adds something. Al Gore gives a timeline for when these events are going to happen. Abrupt climate change and rising ocean levels. The timeline that Al Gore gives in his movie is the same timeline that the federal government gives out through the NASA Goddard Space Flight Institute. Say that fast 10 times. The NASA Goddard Space Flight Institute, which the Queen, Her Majesty, visited last spring when she was in this country, by the way, because she's taking a sudden interest in science. Jim Hansen is director of the NASA Goddard Space Flight Institute, and the timeline he puts out and the timeline Al Gore puts out is the exact same timeline, and here it is. It's kind of clever what they did in the movie, the way they said it. But in 2016, things will start to get bad, abrupt climate change and rising ocean levels. The exact same timeline put out by the federal government through NASA. NASA is part of the military, by the way. If you notice these space flight shuttles go up, Captain this, Lieutenant that, Colonel, I mean, it's the military. It's always been the military. That's the official timeline put out by the federal government. Now, the real timeline. I found out through my confidential sources what the real timeline is, and I found out why they're doing what they're doing right now, moving the CIA from Langley, Virginia to Denver right now. These relocations, which you could call evacuations, are due to have everybody who's part of continuity of government planning. It's not all federal employees. If you work for Health and Human Services, you're toast. There's no place waiting for you in Denver. People in the intelligence agencies, people in certain parts of the military, not all the military. The scientists, the engineers, the doctors, that they want to have in these shelters when everything breaks loose. That's who's being relocated. That's who's being sent to these shelters. These shelters are literally hundreds of millions of your tax dollars where people can live and work and have showers and pizzas and video movies for years without ever leaving the place and be quite comfortable.
He had to say that, folks. FEMA camps are not there to do that. The way he said that, if you just seen his face, he was lying. They're there to kill you, just like they've been doing. The illegal immigrants and the people. The hurricane, they're already killing people off left and right during these storms, folks. The reason we're not seeing that many hurricanes right now, because that dust storm is crushing the hurricanes right now. We've got a tropical storm Debbie out there strong as all get out, getting stronger every day in the Northeast. All the hurricanes are traveling toward the Northeast and heading toward Europe. I thought you might want to know that.
There's other things that could be happening in the next couple of years. Those of us who research these matters and share these concerns, we all know that there's multiple agendas proceeding forward, and that what we sometimes refer to as a New World Order, which will be basically corporations running everything, banks and corporations. They fully expect to come out on the other side of this intact. A fellow radio talk show host from my station, he lives down in northwest Arkansas, not far from Walmart headquarters.
Did you hear what he said? The bankers, the New World Order, thinks they're going to be making it out of this fully intact, knowing they know they're not. Folks, if you're underground, okay, I should know this. I had a friend of mine that worked in Tuscaloosa coal mines. He says if you dig underground and a bomb goes off the wrong way, that's like an earthquake, okay? You're going to be buried alive. It doesn't matter how much steel, how much metal you got under there, okay? It will crush. What CERN is doing, digging underground like it is going to crush them to death. They don't realize how bad they have done it. They can't not hide from this. You cannot hide from this. You can only try to survive. And the rich people think they're going to survive. Well, if you haven't seen them out, folks, where they're digging, it's gone. Area 51 is where they're at. That's why they hide and everything. That's why they say, oh, it's aliens. No, it's not. It's robots that's controlling the area there now. AI. I thought you might want to know that, folks. Their plan is going to go right up in smoke. The economy's going to crash after this happens in the West Coast, folks. Get ready. It's edible.
He says, John, I get plain brown envelopes with no return address sent to me from people that work inside there at middle and upper management levels, giving blueprints of the shelters that Walmart's built for their people. I expect to come out on this. Another friend of mine was working with a Catholic group here in St. Louis, and his job was to help set up military-grade radio communications between the Vatican group in St. Louis and the Catholic group in St. Louis, and the Vatican. Military-grade two-way communications. We aren't talking 10-4 good buddy CB stuff. The real military-grade radio communications. The agendas of the people that control the world, the international bankers and the Fortune 500 and so forth, is to have a planet with far less people on it than there is now, either inadvertently through these earth changes or by design, through World War III, a flu pandemic, or severe economic collapse leading to societal disruption, or all three happening at the same time. These are all matters that could be happening in the not too distant future. I refer to what we're living in right now as phase one. Phase one is where normal commerce takes place. We can have our careers, interact with our families, and our social events that we normally do. And life appears to be normal. The powers that be are using phase one to finish their final preparations. This shelter I talked about here at Walden Springs, Missouri, it took almost twice as long to build it as they anticipated. They kept running into the various problems that any construction project has, but they got it built. And they're using these remaining months to finish up whatever final preparations they need to get their people in place and get moved. Phase two will be when these earth changes events, abrupt climate change, bizarre weather, earthquakes, tidal waves, all become so numerous that they become daily news. In fact, when I meet people out in the street, almost everybody comments on how bizarre the weather has become. And that's pretty much a topic of daily discussion. The government, the powers that be, will claim that these bizarre weather-related events are related to global warming. And when they're happening, that we need to start cutting back on our creation of CO2 greenhouse gases. Since I've been watching these matters the past 9 years, I watched it incrementally become a bigger and bigger media event, up to the point where Al Gore got the Academy Award for Best Documentary in 2007. Then it was like, we're off to the races. Up until that award, that Academy Award, global warming related news stories was maybe twice a week. That was about what I was seeing. Since then, since he got that Academy Award, it's been daily, 7 days a week, global warming stories. And there will be no end to it. As long as there's news, as long as they're capable of broadcasting news, you will have global warming stories every day of the week.
But it's not global warming, folks. It's CERN warming up Earth. It's CERN, Switzerland. Switzerland from Ireland. 17-mile long engine that's pulling everything toward us. The only thing it has not pulled toward us is a fucking kitchen sink.
From now on, as these events become more severe, you're going to hear more and more men with lab coats from NASA talking about global warming being caused by human activity, and that it will be better and everything's going to be okay. So you can go back to your baseball games, go back to work Monday morning. Things are going to be fine. That's phase two. Phase three will be a relatively short period of time. It may be a matter of a few days, maybe a week. It won't be long. At some point, people will realize that things are very strange and very dangerous, and they'll start doing things they normally wouldn't do. Say, for example, you're a professional, self-employed, or you have several people working for you. Half the people in this country work for small businesses. Many of the owners of those businesses are financially well off that they could lock the door and never go back. They love what they do, and that's why they go to work every day. I've heard a number of people tell me, they say, John, the government doesn't want to create panic. That's why they're concealing this. No, the government's not concerned about panic. What the government's concerned about is business owners making very rational, very logical decisions that I'm locking the door and I'm out of here. No panic whatsoever. That's what they're fearful of, because that would shut down the economy if enough of them did it. They want to keep these people in the dark as long as possible. Most men, and it's mostly men because of the nature of the work they do, some women, who know about what we're talking about today, just simply go about their lives and keep quiet about it. They're not public speakers. They take care of their family, they take care of themselves, and the rest of you are on your own. What I bring to the table is public knowledge of what's a very well-kept secret. Phase four will be the end of the world as we know it. Once these oceans come up, the infrastructure that supports normal human activity will be wiped out. Take, for example, shipping, ocean-going ships. The bulky, heavy products of the world, whether it's grain or petroleum products or coal or lumber, is all moved by ship. Ships that go in and out of seaports. When the seaports are underwater, all that stops. It's finished. It's over. That's just one small example of what we're looking at in the future. The housing where 100 million people live will be damaged and or destroyed. The potable water that these people rely on will no longer be potable. The food that they rely on to eat will no longer be available. It will not be a pretty picture. Martial law will be instituted probably before that, which brings to mind these other scenarios I mentioned. Economic collapse leading to social disruption, for example.
Okay, martial law. Gun confiscation goes first. That will be between in 10 days all the way through 23 more months. Okay, guys? Add it up. 23 months will be martial law. Add the months up. You tell me what day that is. I know which date it is. Put it in your comment. Put the comments down below. You'll see how smart you are. I want to see how smart you are. I'm tired of seeing dumb people on the internet.
If things get bad and there's what appears to be a need for martial law related to rioting in the streets over economic collapse, people don't have jobs, can't buy food, people will probably go along with martial law under those conditions because it would appear to be the right thing to do. It would look like a way to get things back to normal. So people will go along with martial law under those conditions. If, however, martial law is instituted because these oceans are coming, nobody's going to pay attention to that. They're going to get out of Dodge. They're going to get out of Dodge. They're going to be gone. And martial law or no martial law, they're going to be gone. If martial law is instituted and there's a lockdown before that, then they'll have a better chance of maintaining martial law. I've lived under martial law for a year in Vietnam. What are you looking at? You're looking at curfews. The curfew could be from 10 o'clock at night to 6 a.m. The curfew could be 24 hours a day. Restrictions of sales of firearms, ammunition, and alcohol. Rationing of fuel, rationing of food, potable water rationing, possibly rationing of electricity. We've seen that in Iraq a lot, depending on what's going on. Martial law is not a fun thing to be part of or live under, even if you're part of the occupying force, because it changes your life. The Navy says, as far as ocean levels, the Navy says these oceans will come up over a period of about 30 days. Once these events get in motion, these water levels, these oceans, these tsunamis, tidal waves will take place over a period of about 1 month. Altitude. The Navy says that everything 100 feet at sea level and below will be completely destroyed. The Navy says everything at 400 feet and below is at risk of being damaged and or destroyed. But there's more to this. There is how close you are to densely populated areas. Now, the Appalachian Mountains, for example, in North Carolina and so forth, would be highly desirable places to be if it wasn't for being so close to literally tens of million people who are going to be hungry and without potable water and without electricity. That's what makes those areas undesirable, even though they will be safe in terms of geology and rising ocean levels. There was a question about money and keeping money and so forth. The American dollar is in severe crisis and is at risk of no longer being the reserve currency of choice for the countries and the major banks of the world. Dollars, if you call dollars money, you would be well advised to maybe be looking at something else for money to store up value for future use. Possibly gold coins, possibly silver coins, to store up a lot of value in a compact area, compact space. Before, however, I would get gold coins or silver coins, I think I would look at other aspects of preparedness. That's why I want to focus on the final part of this presentation is preparedness. So let's look at the stepping stones, the building blocks of preparedness. First of all, and most important, is spiritual preparedness. I'm not ashamed to admit that I am a born-again, Bible-believing Christian. I know from interviewing and studying what happened in World War II that our American POWs who were incarcerated in POW camps in World War II, our American POWs who had strong spiritual beliefs, were far more likely to survive what went on in these POW camps than those who did not. Eating the same food, having the same medical attention, doing the same work, wearing the same clothes, living in the same buildings. Those who had a strong spiritual foundation were far more likely to survive those conditions. We know that for a fact. It's not my job to tell you what your spiritual beliefs should be. My job is to tell you you need to have strong spiritual beliefs, whatever that might be for you. Next comes skills. And there's a lot of skills I'm going to advocate. I'm going to look at my list here so I don't miss any of my list of skills. And I'm going to come back and read you what Dr. Velikowski wrote about what might happen. The skills of a farmer, a gardener, skills of a paramedic. Now we get so used to if somebody gets injured, we dial 911, and in a few minutes there's a wonderful shiny ambulance with these highly trained technicians. They got all the stuff they need to save life. In a future where things no longer work like we're used to, you're going to be your own paramedic, or you're going to sit there and watch your loved one bleed to death from a chainsaw accident or whatever it might be. An EMT course is one semester at your local junior college, maybe $100, $200, and you'll know more about emergency medical matters than 99% of the people in this country. One semester at your local junior college. You don't need to worry about passing a test unless you intend to be a paramedic or EMT. You don't need to worry about taking a test at all. You want to learn the skills, and you want to get a kit equal to your skill level. Now, the paramedic training is three more semesters of college on top of that first one. And then you'll have a skill level almost equal to a medical doctor when it comes to emergency medical treatment. The skills of a ham radio operator. Now, I've been in places, I've been in combat, and I know what it's like not to know what's going on. Being able to instantly and effectively communicate with your friends and loved ones, and we found this out during Hurricane Katrina, two-way radio communication that you control could mean the difference between life and death. In Hurricane Katrina, it was a matter of life and death for many people. The ability to communicate with their loved ones, let them know they were okay, ask for help, or be able to give help. The skills of a backpacker, being able to carry everything you need on your back, shelter, your clothing, your hygiene needs. Being able to clean yourself out in the field, prepare food out in the field, and do so in a manner that doesn't make you sick. Being able to take water out of a stream and filter it so you can drink it without getting sick. All the things that a backpacker knows, the skills of a soldier. In a severe crisis like Hurricane Katrina, for example, you're your own cop, you're your own soldier, or nobody's protected. That's what it comes down to. You become your own soldier, you become your own police officer, and you protect your loved ones because of these skills that you learn. Animal husbandry. In a severe long-term crisis, having goats and sheep and chickens and ducks and rabbits can mean the difference between a fairly good and healthy diet and one that's terribly lacking in protein. It's extremely difficult to get the protein you need from an all-vegetable diet. Extremely difficult. The skills of a carpenter, of an electrician, of a plumber. Things that we may call up a professional to do now, you will be on your own to make these repairs. The skills of an automobile mechanic. All these skills take years to learn, and you can't learn them out of a book, at least not and be very effective. There's some things you can learn out of a book, but without practical application, you're just guessing at how this stuff works. Where do you live? I've had a number of questions during our breaks about where safe areas are. The Arkansas, Missouri, and Ozarks are one of the known safe havens. That's basically the bottom third of Missouri, not counting the Boot Heel, and the top third of Arkansas, not counting northeast Arkansas. That flat area where they grow rice. It's not considered part of the Ozarks. It has altitude. It's well above sea level, averaging 800 to 1,000 feet above sea level, some places a little lower, some places a little higher. A moderate winter, at least for the time being. I hope that continues. Good growing season as a consequence of that. Plenty of water, no shortage of water at all. And distance between where you will be and major metropolitan areas. The two largest metropolitan areas being St. Louis and Kansas City. friend of mine, one of the submarine veterans that lives in Mountain Home, Arkansas, very near the Missouri border, he says, John, we have all these people from Chicago moving down here. All these Chicago cops. Maybe they know something, huh? If you're choosing a place to live and thrive during a severe long-term crisis in the Ozarks, you may think, well, myself and my spouse, we can do this. Then I remind people who are considering that of the number 168. 168 hours in a week. And in a severe long-term crisis, somebody's going to have to be awake 168 hours a week. Because no people can do that, I suggest that at least 6 adults come together and decide to shelter as a group. I also suggest that people have at least a 2-year supply of food. Professor McCanney, in one of his books, his 60-page pamphlet about surviving Planet X, he mentions the need, the possible future need, to establish a new calendar. It goes something like this. If there would be a pole shift, it would change the seasons, it would change the calendar. In fact, within recorded history, the calendar has changed from 360 days to 365 days. This has happened in the past. If it changes more than 3 or 4 weeks, though, here's what could happen. You could plant your seeds at the wrong time. If you plant your seeds at the wrong time and your grocery store get food, this could be a life-threatening situation. So you need to be able to know when the time to plant is so that you don't plant at the incorrect time and end up losing all those valuable seeds. Now I need to go back to Dr. Velikovsky's quote here. Dr. Velikovsky was a medical doctor, and he wrote several books about these matters. And he was hammered mercilessly. One of the things Dr. Velikovsky did was reconcile calendars, like when you reconcile your checkbook. And it's the nature of professionals in all professions not to talk to people who don't do what they do. And nobody had ever done this previously. And it's not easy to do, reconcile calendars from these ancient cultures. Dr. Velikovsky made an observation. There is a passage in the Bible. The Israelis are having this battle, and they need a few extra hours to win this battle. And guess what? They got a few extra, their day was a few hours longer. You know the quote, Jim. The incident, right. Now, typically when we study the Bible, if there's something we can't understand, we just say, well, God's just trying to make a point. This really didn't happen. That's what we do. Up until fairly recently, that's what we had to do with the incident with the Israelis fighting this battle. Well, God was trying to make a point that he had the power to do this. It really didn't happen. Well, it turns out we now know scientifically how that could happen. And the only way it could happen, for the Israelis to get 3 or 4 hours more daylight, the only way that can happen is for the planet to roll over in space.
Shockey, you only got 10 days left. I don't know where you live, but the West Coast is about to be toast. That's all I can say. It's connected with everything, with the West Coast, Hawaii, all these earthquakes, all these volcanoes, all the hurricanes, all the storms that we're seeing. You better get ready to get back to Lonesome Dove. Get back to the Wild Wild West, because you better have a gold instead of money. And you're not going to have a bank account. Remember that, folks. I'm out. Hope y'all enjoyed it. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. And thank you for sharing. And thank you for hitting them like buttons. I'm working free for you, for your freedom, my grandfather, and everyone. Amy, thank you for watching. Fernandez, look me up on Facebook. We're going to destroy the NWO together. Y'all have a nice day. Love you all. They don't give a damn about you. Trump don't give a damn about you. Bush don't give a damn about you. Clinton don't give a damn about you. And Obama don't give a damn about you. We give a damn about you. The question is, do you give a damn about yourself and your family? I'm out. We just Scorpion death dropped the NWO again. Take care.